Okay, I'm gonna start with the cupcake portion first. So I'm gonna heat my oven to 350. Put my liners in the pan. Just double check that you've got singles in your muffins. They tend to stick together. I just got my hands wet a little bit and they come apart easier. So when you make your batter, you're gonna have to microwave the chocolate. So you're gonna borrow one of these handy dandy bowls from me. They break super easily on the bottom. So I've had some people, I don't know how they even do it, or they mash something in there, or they, I don't know. I've had a ton break. So just, I don't know, be careful with them. But obviously no metal in the microwave, please. So I'm going to microwave chocolate and butter in the microwave in a microwave safe bowl on high for about 2 minutes until butter is melted. You just want to go carefully and do like small increments of measurements the time in your microwave. So it's going to be 6 tablespoons of butter. And then my chocolate. So 2 ounces of chocolate, or half a package. Every package is 4 ounces. And I'll probably have these broken up for you. Just the half pieces. And then you just want to chop this. Doesn't have to be super perfect or super fine, but you do want to chop it to be a little bit smaller so that when you microwave it, it's got a little bit of a chance to melt and melt somewhat evenly with the butter that's in there. So I'll bring over some sort of vessel, maybe this one. I'm just going to start with 30 seconds. I've got butter in there, I've got chocolate in there. The chocolate can burn and get too hot too fast and not be super delicious. So I just like to cut my time little bits and then check it. I'm always add more time. Once I burn it, I can't go back, I can't take time away, take the burning away. So smaller amounts of time. So about 2 minutes is kind of your total time, but you want to cut that down just a little bit. And then you can also start stirring it once you see it melting. And then the other thing to think about is if like a lot of your chocolate is melted or butter and you've just got a few chunks in there, instead of just risking it and getting it back in there but maybe burn it, just give it a stir. And usually the residual heat that you have left in there, everything is still nice and warm, will just kind of slowly melt it if you just give it a stir so that you've got hot stuff next to warm stuff that will melt it. like this. When I pulled this out, everything looked kind of like its own shape, but once I started to move it around and get a spatula, everything just liquefied. So I had a few chunks of chocolate in there, but now that I'm stirring everything around, everything is melted just fine. So once everything's melted, stir, obviously, till the chocolate is completely melted. That's your second blank there in your paragraph. It's completely melted and mixture is well blended. So then I can add my sugar mixed well. I'll add my eggs one at a time, is that long blank there. So my sugar is 3/4 of a cup. I think I'm just going to get rid of the spatula at this point. And then my eggs, 2 whole eggs. I like to just crack into something else just to double check I don't have shells or a bloody egg. So get that 1 egg incorporated before you add the next. And I like to get the sugar in. Obviously it says add sugar first and then eggs, because you want to give that chocolate and butter mixture a little bit of time to cool down. Because if I'm adding eggs to a hot butter and chocolate mixture, my eggs are just going to cook and coagulate, and I'm going to have weird scrambled eggs inside of my cupcake batter. And that does not sound very delicious. So just by adding that sugar, lets that temperature drop down just a little bit so you don't have to scramble your eggs. So then blend in vanilla, which is going to be 1/2 teaspoon. And then it says combined 1/2 cup of flour, the baking soda, salt, and then you're going to add the remaining flour, alternating between buttermilk and flour. It just kind of helps so you don't get like super clumpy cupcake batter. So our total amount of flour is going to be 1 cup. And then we have baking soda for 1/2 teaspoon, salt for 1/4 teaspoon, and buttermilk for 1/2 cup. Remembering proper measuring technique. tap your flour so you get the air bubbles out and you have a nice flat level cup. So it doesn't have to be super scientific. I'm just going to shake roughly half of my cup. Again, it's just that kind of alternating the buttermilk and the flour kind of gets you a little nice smoother batter. Salt was a quarter, or this is baking soda, this is a half. So nice smooth batter, just till incorporated. You still have basically a quick bread here. So all those other quick bread rules apply. You don't want to overmix. All right, so I've got my chocolate, butter, sugar, eggs for 2, half the teaspoon of vanilla, cup of flour, half a teaspoon baking soda, a quarter teaspoon of salt, and my half cup of buttermilk. Add the remaining flour, alternating between, mix so there's no flour clumps that remain, and then spoon into 12 lined cupcake cups and bake 25 to 30 minutes or until a toothpick inserted comes out clean, cool, and you can add your topping. So what I like to do for filling my cupcakes is to use a scoop, but just know that with these big scoops, these are helpful because they help get your batter to your cupcake, but then take like a full scoop. So just like with everything else, I can always add more later. It's a little bit more difficult to take it out. I can always take it out with a spoon, but when you try to take batter out of these things, once they're in there, like everything sticks to it, the cupcake liners tend to close on themselves. So just do about half or so of a scoop, and then you can always go back over and add more batter if you need to. So 12 even. You can always kind of, if you have any batter spills, I would like to clean up any batter spills before it gets baked. It just bakes on. Sometimes these will go up, sometimes they go a little out, but if you have any batter spills now, I just like to get them off so they don't burn on there. So 25 to 30 minutes, I always like to cut my time in half so I can rotate halfway through. And then I always like to take that smaller bit of time because, again, I can always add more time later. Once they're burnt, I can't take it away. So I can always add more time. So I go on the lesser end of things. All right, so everybody have all their blanks for the cupcake. Perfect. So moving on to the coconut filling.
What's the first one?
For the cupcakes, the 2 ounces.
Heat oven to what?
Oh, the 350.
Oh.
So for your filling, we're going to use or your frostings, or you're going to use your stovetop and use a small, medium-ish type saucepan. So we're going to do 2 egg yolks. You separated eggs before. A couple different ways you can do it. You can definitely do the shell routine back and forth. But then once if the shell crosses through or the yolk passes through the shell and it pierces it, then you have a broken yolk, and that's sometimes not very fun. I personally just like my good old hands, because it feels gross, and my hands are a little bit more gentle than a shell. But either way works. And then I'll probably have like a quart container or something set aside so that we can save all the whites, because it's just a whole lot of whites thrown away. So I'll have some sort of use for them in the future. So I'm going to whisk egg yolks, the milk, which is the evaporated milk, and vanilla in a saucepan until blended. So like I said, evaporated milk. I know that on the bottom with the instructions says milk, but on top it says evaporated milk, which I get in this large can because we do all the classes combined. There's a lot of milk or evaporated milk, so it comes from this can. The amount that you're looking for in the classroom setting here is going to be 3/4 of a cup. Because I do get it in that large can, that's why I'm saying 3/4 cup. Your recipe also is going to say so many ounces. So if you're to make this at home and to buy just the can at the grocery store, it would be 6 ounces or half the can, because they're sold in 12-ounce cans. I have some back there just in case. But at the store, you get a 12-ounce can. So if you were to do this at home, you could do half the can, or you could do the whole can, have a double batch, lots of frosting if you like extra frosting. That's okay too. Vanilla is 3/4 of a teaspoon. So whisk them until the egg yolks break apart. Doesn't have to be too long. And then I'm going to add my sugar and my butter and cook on medium heat about 12 minutes until mixture is thickened and it's golden brown, stirring constantly. So The sugar is 3/4 of a cup of sugar again. And my butter is 6 tablespoons again. So this process takes a little bit of time, but it also needs some attention because you don't want to walk away from this. But it is kind of delicate because now you have these egg yolks in there, and you're wanting to get them to thicken your frosting, but not scramble. So same thing that you would have if you were to scramble your eggs in your batter, you would just have a bunch of chunky scrambled eggs in there. Not what we're looking for. So a moderate heat. This says on a medium heat, but our gas flames, I feel like, are a little bit more intense than a medium. So I have it on number 4 right now. I have it on number 4, and I'm going to see how it goes. And then after time, I'm going to definitely see a difference in consistency, because right now it just looks like liquid. Just evaporated milk and yolk just looks like liquid. As the butter melts and the eggs start to thicken, you're going to notice a noticeable difference. So like I said, that recipe says 12 minutes. It takes about 12 minutes, and it's constant stirring, so you don't have eggs that are scorching to the bottom. And then when it's done, I'm going to remove from the heat, add my coconut and my pecans, just kind of fold those in. I would suggest using a spatula, because at that point this should be very thick. Continue to use that, add the chunky bits, the coconut and the nuts. It's just going to get stuck in the middle of the whisk like my butter is right now. So the coconut is going to be 2 ounces. We can measure with our handy dandy scale. And then my pecans chopped is 1/2 cup, which they are already chopped for you. I purchased them that way. You can do a little heaping measurement because it's kind of like, chocolate chips. Remember, we can do a heaping measure so that there's a lot of negative space in there. How many people are not so much into the coconut and the pecans? Well, like I said, you can definitely, once this has thickened and you've got your frosting, you can omit one or both, set it aside, so you can have a couple portions that have no nuts or coconut or both. Either way, but you can amend it that way and it'll be just fine. And I hung on to my spatula because from time to time I'll just scrape the bottom just to make sure, because that fits in like the corner of my pan, just to make sure that I don't have like egg coagulating in the corner of my pan and just getting hard in there. So now that my butter is melted, now that things are getting hot, now that's when you're going to probably expect your 12-minute time, because a lot of people say, well, it's been on there for 12 minutes, nothing's happened. Well, did you start your time? So think about, because now it's hot. Now we got things going on, things that are going to happen. Your eggs are going to do the thickening. And then it will start to get a bit more of a golden brown. So that sugar that's in there is going to start to caramelize and look really nice. Does everybody have all their amounts and blanks for the frosting? 3/4 cup.
What was the second one?
Saucepan?
In the 2 blank?
Of golden brown. The other thing that you don't want it to do is to bubble and start to simmer. So now that I've scraped this down, I can see the edges start to simmer. I'm going to turn it down because I've had it at a 4 this whole time. I'm going to turn it down just a hair because I still want to keep it hot. Don't want the eggs to do the thing. I still want the sugar to caramelize, but there's that difference, caramelize and carbonize. If it gets too hot, too fast. This is also one that if you aren't very careful and you're not watching it, it's going to bubble over and then it's going to make a huge giant mess on your stove because it's just sugar and sugar milk, and it would make a big mess and it would not be fun to clean up. So some people like this really kind of warm. I kind of like it when it's warm and freshly made, but you can certainly get this made. So obviously be a nice lab for you guys to kind of divide and conquer. Get a couple people working on the cupcakes and then a couple people working on the frosting. But once the frosting is done, you can certainly put it in the refrigerator and let it cool. Leave your spatula in there so you can kind of stir it so it will cool efficiently. But it's nothing you want to eat right away, super, super hot. It's like molten lava. It's just hot sugar. It's going to burn your mouth. So I've got halfway or so starting to pop up. Look like cupcakes. Becomes still too hot and intense with your heat. I'm going to turn it down a little bit more. That looks a little better. While we're waiting for all things to get done, let's get a few more slides out of the way. Jose, are you ready? You should your slide. You don't like it?
Here is a cup from Mexico, and we have like 10 of those, and we just use the top. It's called some kind of asado no mix. We have some beers to make like the meat tender.
Ah.
Those are a thing gordita, bottom right, top left of me. Like, you go with like beans or cheese. It tastes good, I like it. You can add some green sauce on top or some red sauce. It's called walnut or everyone eats that. It's like every two months. I like it too. I think that's it.
Nice, thank you. Dominic?
So these knives are like they've been in my family for like a long time. They're just like regular steak knives, but something about them is I think when I was a kid I threw one away in accident. So we have like a 6 set of knives that we're missing one. And then these are homemade enchiladas. My dad he likes to make Mexican food a lot. He also likes making homemade pizza. So it's something we get quite often. And then this duck, I come from a family of hunters. So when my brother goes duck hunting, my mom always makes cooked duck. And spaghetti, we have that a lot. My dad makes it. Salmon, we go fishing over the summer with my uncle, and he takes us salmon fishing, chicken fishing. Homemade hamburgers, and then corn. So my grandpa owns a corn farm, and we were there over the summer, so we basically eat our weight in corn. And then key lime pie, my mom always makes key lime pie for like her family gatherings. That's kind of like her signature dessert. And then steak, we eat beef for health. Again, says one of the family hunters, we have lots of elk steak. And then shrimp fettuccine, I always try to have that on my birthday because it's like one of my favorites. And then the toppings, butterball soup is one of my dad's recipes. It's really good. Yeah, it's been passed on to his parents.
It's butterball or
Yeah.
matzo balls?
Well, I think it's
Like are they dumplings? Like are they breaded kind
Yeah,
of dumplings?
exactly.
Oh, okay.
So that's just what we call it.
Yeah, but it's like a chickeny broth with the dumpling kind of thing. Okay, that looks really good actually. Is that it?
Yeah.
Cool, thank you. Manny.
I have a room right there, Mexican rice. We don't, I eat that like at least once a week or so. Street tacos, I don't know, two to three times. Like maybe
3 or 4, no, 2. And these are chiles rellenos. I have those not that often, like only on special occasions, but my favorite. This pozole is for like most of the time we eat on holidays like Christmas, Thanksgiving, something like that.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, so I moved I'm gonna take it off heat altogether, but I moved my frosting over to the back burner because, like I said, this bigger burner, the lowest low, is still too hot. So you might want to consider, especially when after it gets hot, to move it to another burner that's lower. But I definitely have, like, it's thicker. It's sticking to the spoon. That is a good indicator. That's sticking to the spoon, and then I'm ready to start adding my nuts and things. And like I said, get them mixed with a spatula so it doesn't get stuck in the middle of your whisk. And now that that's in there, I'm gonna go move this to the refrigerator so it cools, so we can try it. And it's not gonna like burn your mouth. It's still probably gonna be a little bit warm, which like I said, I like it when it's still a little warm. I think it has a better flavor to it. But you could, if you're making this at home, you could definitely cool this all the way down and still use it. Just know that that consistency of the frosting is gonna get thicker the cooler it gets. So if you were to cool this overnight, you might wanna let it sit out for a little while because it's gonna be really, really thick. It's not gonna be something you can spread over a cake because that sugar, everything gets really, really hard, the butter in the refrigerator. So if you're trying to frost something, it's not gonna work. You're gonna end up tearing your cake if it's too cold.
No, because they can't literally make the day of. People work and stuff. People work and stuff. That's inconsiderate. Inconsiderate. They can't, how do you prepare yourself if they're not gonna tell you till, hi, today you're gonna your senior speech? No, but they need to tell you beforehand too, so you need to bring your stuff. Everyone's already set, so I'm picking someone else. I'll go or never met. Oh, she's great. You guys will do great. First semester felt weird because I had sugar like every day last year and the year before that. Because like I had, for my classes like every also no. So yeah, it was weird. And go down the same hallway because I had burps every day last semester. And so I just like a couple times like I saw myself like go to step tookers because like I have it, so like go in there and I'm like, wait, no, I need to go. Yeah. And now I'm like hardly upstairs. I think all in classes on you like this?
Oh yeah, good. frosting's cooling, cupcakes are cooling. Let's get another slide out of the way. I have Cynthia.
Can't wait to go to school. It's really hard to go back to her. Okay.
Okay, so one of my favorite dishes is arroz con leche, and it's where I have the most memories with my mother. I usually ask her to do it for my birthday because it's always so fun during that time of year, which is the winter. So we usually make it a lot, and my mother loves cooking tamales, and so do I. So we usually make them during Christmas time. And also, we have to make the red ones, but we roast them because at least in our opinion, has a lot more flavor to it. We usually, I usually use measuring tools. Although my mother doesn't like doing it because she just likes eyeballing everything, but I like organization, so I usually use them. I also like to make chocolate fans for my parents and my family. I usually just make them for like birthdays as like dessert. And I would like to one day try Indian food. I usually go out to catering days where we usually have like people from that culture make us like deliver the foods to the people. And so I always like smell the food and it smells really good. And I was like, I want to try it.
Nice. Excellent. Thank you very much.
Asked how much stuff and like how much of the thing put in. She's like, I don't know. Is it like this much in a hand? But I'm like, I need you to write down stuff because I don't know how to cook. And I need a recipe. And you can't give me a recipe.
So that is all I have in my little docket for Block 1 folks. So if you haven't submitted and you still want to, the 31st is your deadline. So once the cupcakes have been out for a little bit, I always like to get them out of their warm little cupcake pan. Like I said, some of them like to spill over. You just have to gently encourage them out of there. You see the rack right there with all its little friends?
Yeah.
My sister lied. I went over yesterday and they were there. Yeah, so my babies are dead. Like she told me. What kind of? She's a monster. She told me. Yeah. God, you don't even understand how happy I got. All of a sudden, this big chicken drop off there was sitting right there. And I was like, oh. They grew like a whole
And then the other bonus to getting them out of there somewhat early, if you can help it, is to get this pan now soaking. So any of the cooked on stuff, I can get it soaking and make my cleaning job easier. Okay, who wants to try cupcake? You don't want the frosting?
No.
Do you want one with just no frosting? Because there's literally 12 people in here, and I have 12 cupcakes. I usually have to cut them in half, but I don't have to cut them in half. So, but they're also still screaming hot. We have about 50 minutes left. I can still dish them up, but I would just like, these muffins are still hot. This is still pretty warm. It's a little warmer to my like. I like a little cooler, but like I said, I'd rather get it dished up and you guys eat it and then get cleaned up. So I would suggest a plate or bowl of some sort, because this is a little bit, it's not that runny. Still coats the side of the spoon. So grab some sort of vessel, and I'll put frosting on if you want. If you don't want frosting, frosting.
Yes.
Nice. Fully.
Yeah, right?
Frosting. Frosting.
Yes.
Just a cupcake for you. Frosting for you. Frosting.
Thank you.
And I like it. I like the texture.
Frosting for both of you guys.
Jackson.
Yeah.
I get messy on that paper towel. Sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna take this one as class.
I see this one in this box.
I don't know.
You don't know what's good. I'll have it here. Sense of texture. Send her a nice text. Make her feel better. No, send her a sweet text.
That'd be like,
Ooh. Texting another girl instead of making her feel better. He's a cat. Don't apologize. Tell her nice stuff.
Might have been okay. She sends it to me.
Me
That's
too.
positive. If I do send something like that, okay. And I'll be like, no way. Alright.
See, this is why you just let her get ready. and let her be mad at you when she's sick. Plain and simple, take one for the team. So what is it?
Just the one thing guy when you say that from the beginning.
It's like all over you.
I know one.
That makes my fun part. You're perfect.
That's good.
I don't like chocolate cake, but I like it. I don't know why I like sweet, but I want them to be right now. It's my favorite snack. I love that. This would be one of those that makes my birthday. Still happy. Oh, he's trying to keep my foot from busting, so I don't push it anymore.
Yeah, you saw what she said, right? Right. I know. Like, rather be like, watch, I go with it. Like, do I? No, she probably. Yeah. Do we have a teacher? Like, who's that?
Oh, what?
I love that.
Why?
We started to like aggressively at you. For more than a year.
You did what?
Talking to you to harass them.
Talking to me, yeah.
No, she like, I was sitting at lunch, minding my own business, and she came up to me and went, with her phone like this, saying, what happened that they had like, COVID over like, and we just do what we were like. Oh, I'm like, you probably know.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only one that didn't laugh at the joke.
I'm sorry, but we don't share the same videos, but I'm not gonna hack on you for it.
Anyway, it's okay, it's like, she like, yeah, I don't know if she doesn't hear herself, or she's like.
Oh, well, that was the same thing that, I don't know if she's deaf, I don't know if she can't hear
No,
herself
no,
well.
but she, no, because immediately you're not supposed to talk anything, but she goes, she like tries to say, yeah.
She says it.
She says it.
Yeah. So I dropped it. That's why I was teasing this week. I dropped it in like the middle of the second semester.
What do you guys think?
Oh, they're good.
Are they like still a tad too hot, or are they good now?
They're good.